Greetings and salutations. The streaming wizard goes live again. Words are hard, you know. It's a good thing I know a lot of them so I can say them at inappropriate times to people. How is everybody doing today? I am doing great. I have been to places today, and I have been trying to figure out things, but it's fine. I don't know what is currently happening with my audio. It sounds like the mythical bug of the void is coming to attack me whenever I move. I don't know. All I know is that I exist, and I am ready for what they call it, Freddy. So today we have to solve this problem. The fact that everything is broken. You see, when everything's broken, that makes me sad, because that means it's not working. So, first of all, nope. $180 degrees, move this over here. Duplicate this. To there. And can we just keep going straight? We can. We can't go back. I think that the issue with the straight part is that if or target rotation is not equal to negative. Is that weird enough? Because I don't know exactly how radians work, because if this might be... Yeah, I'm not sure how this works. Like, how about this? Yeah, it prints the target rotation, so this is 0, this is 0. When you turn around, it becomes 3.314. This one is 0. This one is 5. That one is 0. So if it's target rotation is greater than, this is going to be weird, greater than 3.0. Okay. No, if it target rotation is not greater than 3. The first one is, yeah, that's not greater than 3. So, or if target rotation is, wait a minute, it's not greater than 3, so it shouldn't, why are you rotating now? Okay, so print rad to degree target rotation. How's that then? 0, 0, turn around, 180. Is it because, yes, it, or how is direction, camera, global position, minus move point? Zero, minus 45. 90. Rotation speed plus. I don't know. I do know that for now I'm gonna take rotation speed and jam that really high so it always reaches its endpoint. That what? 10. Let's just keep that at 10 for now. So go here, go here. Is it because I don't think I hit enter? Okay. Camera, rotate towards end rotation. Is end rotation ever changing? Find cam, rotate. So this only supposed to only run once, and it runs. It runs when you're moving to a point. End rotation. Just testing things here, honestly. That was 180. So that's essentially the main issue. But why? If we're turning around, print avoiding direction Z and direction Z. How is it that this is a straight line? This is a straight line, obviously. When you turn around, is it because camera global rotation? Turn around, if that turn round is it because of the player rotation? Does the player rotation actually have anything to do with it? So, for example, if I do player dot rotation dot y global rotation dot y equals rotate toward player dot global rotation dot y comma end rotation at rotation speed multiplied by delta. Will that reset it to 0 now? No, that is still 180, so that does change literally nothing. Is it because if I close this, if I take my player is currently exactly on this. If I just drag you back, that is still 0, and if I put you past the line, that is obviously still 0. And what if I do this? I take you, drag you here, go to the camera, transform 180, and I do this. Gonna give it a second. That is still 180 even though it started there. I think it's because... Maybe it's because it's global rotation. I'm not supposed to rotate globally, just normal. So camera dot rotation is equal to... What if I do that? Set rotation. Oh, that I undid the set rotation speed. Movement rotation speed should be about just 10 now for testing purposes. This, still, there's a bug now. Hooray. I don't understand why they won't leave me alone. Why is it? It's not 180 degrees. From this point to that point, is it because it's using a global 180 degrees? So it's always looking at this and it's not being relative? So for find rotate cam direction, camera dot... Is it this? Is it this? Nope. Still moves perfectly though. Move point dot. Global position dot move point. That doesn't work at all, right? Yeah. Move point. How about in move points creation? Move point equals end point. And end point dot collider dot. Does that work? No. What? If point is a movement point and... alright, so that doesn't work because that turns it into a position, so movement. Does that work? Nope. Go position down. This is a vector 3. And I already tried this, correct? Yeah, that doesn't work. So what does this mean? It's like this is now, that stopped working. Is it because it's finding... I think my brain's starting to finally figure it out, but I'm not certain yet. Yeah, so currently it's not looking towards the... It's looking towards the actual point, not the... that, so... For the move point dot collider, that is returning to when find rotate cam is got, it uses find, it uses move point, and if I do your move point dot get, how do I grab the position of a because what broke this was moving it backwards. Is essentially this. That makes no sense now. I don't. Oh, come on. Why are you doing this to me? I'm trying my best. So the end point, or what I'm trying to figure out, is making sure that the movement actually works, and it's refusing to let me. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to break every time. That's the best part. Global rotation, it is doing that. End rotation is global rotation by dot pi. That's just for turning around. That's perfectly fine. If I do this, nothing happens. If I do this, nothing happens. If I do that, it's now at 180. Which makes no sense. This decided to break itself horrifically. Even though it makes no sense as to why. It was working a moment ago. Shindot. Yeah, why? I mean, why is it? Oh, so yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense as to why I would need that. I forgot what I had written. Is that just... why? Okay. If it just happens, then... Actual target rotation is supposed to be the second closest 90-degree angle. So when I move them back... When I move them back, that must make it so, yeah, if the player is here, and if this is a 90 degrees and it's trying to move here, that makes it land somewhere in the middle instead of looking at this, which is a much closer one, which is part of the problem. Meaning that if I just made it... Oh, but the bug is dead. I swatted a bug. So actual target rotation equals float if... So target rotation is just that. I shouldn't round it. What happens if we just else. Wait a minute. Target rotation equals that. Not rotating 280 degrees, it's just rotating to a perfect 90, I think. Yeah, I think it's because the closest thing to it is just picking at a random one. So else end rotation is equal to, I think, this. I love making things that are incredibly and there we go. But why? Oh right, it's not declared into the target scope. How's this then? Does this work? No, it still doesn't. What? Why? All right, because it's, wait, it's else if target rotation is not equal to 0, 0, if target, that means if target rotation is equal to 0, 0, it doesn't rotate at all. If I go all the way up here, where is this used? If will rotate. Wait, no, yeah, so if will rotate is true, and you rotate the camera. So I don't need to run that. So it's like, is equal to 1 is equal to 0. If target rotation does not equal that, or if target rotation, okay, I think, however, first of all, the best thing to do is equal, if is equal approximately target rotation to 0, or no, it's and. All of these have to be true. And I take this and 1, 2, 3, and if I'm going to take this, there we go. Now it's all in one. So if and who the numbers are pi divided by 2 pi and negative pi divided by 2. Does this work now? Okay, going in directions works. Now what if we just take this and jam that there? What happens then? Yeah, it works sometimes. The issue that I think we're having is that this angle is almost directly in the middle. Meaning that what happens is that, how do I say this? What happens is that nothing actually happens. So when you move from, so meaning it's like if there's absolutely any variation and you click on this, they won't actually fully go to this point. It'll rotate in the wrong direction. So for the first time, this works. However, that one isn't the biggest change, meaning we're having what we like to call problems again. Yay. No, everyone's really excited for problems. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's duplicate. Move that there. It could also be that if you're here, no, if you're clicking that, it should be fine. I'll do the details later. Yeah. So this. There we go. Triangle there, cylinder there. This one I'm going to put at an angle so it's slightly different. There we go, there we go. So going north works, south works, left doesn't, this way, perfect. That works. It's working sometimes. I am currently working on a first-person horror game where it is essentially you are a private detective in a newspaper facility where you are essentially trying to evade a serial killer while figuring out his name and evidence against him from the previous person who was investigating the killer. So that's essentially the project. However, it's also spawned from a dislike of modern horror games and how a bunch of them are exactly the same of just a big scary monster running at you, and the second you turn a corner it essentially forgets its maiden name and it just decides so it just explodes. in forms of intelligence, so I'm trying to do something like that. And I decided, inspired by the game At Dead of Night, to use that movement system because it allows me to be very precise on interactions and things like that. So currently I'm trying to make a modular system that just allows me to place things anywhere, and it's coming along. It's coming along, both good and bad. This is about my third time making this exact same, literally this exact same game. The reason I stopped is because the reason it's my third time is that the first two iterations were designed like a person who has never seen systems before, and because of that, everything was built like a web of spaghetti and nothing ever worked. So I'm doing it. The issue I'm currently having is that whenever you click on these, essentially the way it works is that you click on... Yes, essentially what I'm trying to do is that if you click, you have these 4 hitboxes. If you click on this hitbox particularly, you move to this point right here. If you click on the right, I want the player to turn to the right, like move to this point and turn right. So what I'm trying to, the issue is that because this point is slightly further away from, is essentially in the middle of these two 90 degree angles, there's some variation on the closest 90 degree angles. So for example, if I am right here and I'm pointing it and I click on this direction, if the closest 90 degree angle is this one, then the camera will turn all the way to the left. But if the closest 90 degree angle is the one to the right, it will turn all the way to the right. That's essentially what I'm trying to figure out. And it works sometimes. So like you can move in the direction you want. However, sometimes it just, because there's tiny amounts of variation on how far away things actually are, it can just mess up by accident. It's like that one. Like when the player is right here, and he tries to move forward, I can try to alleviate that by just moving this back a little bit. And the end result should be that it actually does turn, or it doesn't, and it ignores me because it hates me with a personal fury. Or it just, I can't turn left anymore. I used to be able to turn left. It is you. Why are you the problem? This essentially checks for... Currently, it's just checking... this is supposed to check the second closest 90 degree angle to it, because of things... this does essentially nothing right now. It currently just rounds to the closest 90 degree angle. If I change it back to actually using the closest second 90 degree angle, it breaks currently. So I'm just trying to figure it out with just the closest 90 degree angle. I know I'm saying words and words are hard, but I try my best. Turning. Oh, that's a slight issue. You press the turn around button, it does literally nothing. Oh, it's because this current button is, when you hover over it, it's actually hovering over both the button and the hitbox itself, meaning it does both, and it picks the don't turn around button when I do want you to turn around, meaning I'm going to need to edit that. So on pause, turn around. If the button is hovering over a hitbox, it prioritizes the movement forward instead of the rotation. I do have that. I don't have that. Essentially, in the way I previously made the game, is that this is the wrong screen entirely. The way I previously made the game, this is the old version, is that essentially every single one of these points had a large amount of information tied to them, like a really large amount of information tied to them, and that made everything really, really complicated because of just I was essentially working with a mindset that was building a broken system. So I do agree that it is probably better at this point to like just simply have a rotation tied to it. But at the exact same times, there are slight issues with that. A good example is like if I'm standing here and I move in a straight line forward and I want to turn to the right. Obviously, I can hold a direction that is pointing in this direction. However, if the player is over here, now I have to, and looking in this direction, so pointing back towards the middle hallway. The issue is that held. Now I have to perform a check, checking to see in which direction the player actually is, in order to pick between two rotation points. Those being looking in one direction and looking at the other. That is essentially the way I'm thinking about it. Because currently, I just want it to be if the hitbox is to the right, you move 90 degrees, and I just realized that's much easier to do it. So the thing is, like the current issue, I'm working it out in my brain. I do like the known orientation. If you I'm not sure how that's what the dot product check dimension is for, and yeah, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't. I never used a dot product check again. I'm going to look it up what it means if I'm honest. Dot product check. Because I am rather new to working on my own. Dot product tells you how similar two directions are. RD, A dot is exactly the same direction, perpendicular, 90 degrees apart. 0 opposite directions, 90. Oh, that's interesting. So currently I have just this block that says if the target rotation is close to either 0, or if it's pointing in one of the cardinal directions, don't do anything. But this is saying that, like, so if var d, these are all factors 3 because I'm using radians. So dot to enemy. Now you have me thinking. How dare you make me think? I'm supposed to be the person who makes other people think. That's my job. So currently this direction is just it is a vector 3, and the target rotation is just a single radian. So the way dot works is that 1 is the same direction, 0 is 90 degrees apart. The opposite direction is -1. It can detect if the player has changed direction. Huh. That's a fun tool I didn't know existed. Thank you very much for that. just thinking about how, because that's radians. Do I have to translate radians into something? What does the dot actually take in? The information var d equals a dot at b. So it does take vector 3. So how, if I just do print, so direction is a vector 3 currently, and the move point is, so if go, I love banning AI bots. It's my favorite. Direction Y, I'm going to print the following just for fun testing purposes, is a var d. No, I'm just going to do d. Var d is equal to direction dot dot or camera dot global position dot move point print d. Now what does that actually do? That's going to get rid of this so I can differentiate them correctly. 0, 89, 115, 89, 89, 89, 115, 89. Is that showing? Okay, so this does fully. What does this number specifically mean, though? Because it's supposed to return a number between -1 and 1, where 1 is exactly the same direction. That's the result of a dot, so why is it giving me large amounts of numbers? There are a lot of use cases for dot products, like a lot one might not even think about. Nice operation. Thank you. Essentially, the I will be using dots now because or at least trying to figure out how they work, essentially, for the rest of for streams, like if previous current dot. So the dot itself, it says it's supposed to return, if you have two normalized vectors, then you use a dot and it returns a number between 0 and 1. Move point itself is determined, is just endpoint, which is essentially just the location that. Right, you do have to normalize them. Thank you. Does not take scale into account, so if before this I direction equals direction dot normalized and move point equals move point dot normalized, right, I'm just going to, currently it's move point, because right, var direction 2 for current test, var move point 2 for a test as well, var d equals I don't know why I'm normalizing this. Move point 2. So that just uses it temporarily, so... but the global camera position isn't normalized, so is it... direction 2. There we go. The end result is... -1. What do these mean again? -1 means opposite directions 180 degrees apart. That is a straight line, so shouldn't it be the same, be printing out a 1 because it's moving in the same direction? I thought that's what that meant anyway. Because if both vectors are normalized, that's 1, so that means that's in the exact same direction. Does normalize also remove the negative? Like, no, that's absolute. No, yeah, normalizing doesn't. The dot product takes scale into account. Okay. It is supposed to... -1 means it's 180 degrees from it. Meaning, am I doing this wrong in a sense? I'm not sure what my brain is figuring out. So the camera dot position. Oh no, wait. This is currently just flawed because I'm editing the direction for it. So if direction 2 should be literally just this. 0 is 90 degrees. That's 0.9. And move point is literally just that end point, meaning that the 2 points I have are the camera and this point right here, meaning because they are in a straight line, it should be Can I use dots to check if something is to the left or right of a player? A dot product tells you in front or behind. Ah, that makes sense. So this can use a dot product to see if the player is in front or behind it in order to normalize it. That's what you were saying. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Because dots can only tell in front or behind based on like a normal opinion. So this is saying, where is it? I've lost it. Okay, so this is trying to find out. It's like direction 2 is the camera global position, and normalized in the move point position. So this is directly in front of it, so obviously it's going to do nothing. If I go in front again, that 0.9 means the camera global position. It means what again? 0.91. It means it is in the same direction. Ah, so now it's always extremely close to 1. Visualization of the dot product. It is not as useful if the vectors you use don't share an origin. You want to compare the current vector forward. You can get it from camera.global underscore basis CI, I believe, with the move point dot global position normalized. Visualization of the dot product. I see. Vector by. So direction 2 is camera dot global bases dot z and move point. Move point already has its global position, I'm pretty sure, because it is just, if I print the move point, or just like here, yeah, it is already a vector 3 that is, and essentially already has its global position, because it's that exactly. So yeah, that does already work. So if I then do that, that means it's wait, so if I do move point 2 dot direction 2, does that take into account? If I take my player just for posterity's sake, 1, 1, -1, so that is consistent. So no matter how much I like mess with my character, if I'm moving a direction and I click on this from this side, it's 1. That is useful. So meaning no matter what, if I click on it from this side, it's -1. If I'm moving in that direction, and this side, it's 1. And if I do this, I feel like I'm not understanding a simple concept, not due to my, I might also want to zero out the y before normalization if you don't care about height differences. You want the delta, the vector from your position to the target position. If the move point is already that, then that's fine. But move point sounds like a position, not a difference. You might also want to zero out the y before normalization if you don't care about height differences. That is correct. I do not care about height differences. So zero out the y before normalization. So move point dot y equal to 0. You want the delta, the vector from your position to the target position if the movement is already that. So I do direction 2 is that, so I am move point 2 direction. Yeah, that's not right. It's not normalized currently. Direction equals direction. Technically, it's a the direction vector you create is already that just negative. So var test is equal to direction dot normalized. And is it that? Is that what you mean? Yeah, okay, so what this is saying is that D direction, or is the direction supposed to be in here? So is it supposed to be test and then move point 2, both of them? So -1, -1. It is the same result every time, which is confusing me. God, I feel like I need to watch a YouTube. Do you have any like YouTube videos or something like that to explain this concept? Because I feel like I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and trying to see what sticks. Direction 2 dot negative direction. Direction 2 dot thank you very much. I'll absolutely be taking a look at those later. Is it that it's y or something? No. Wait, or is it? 0 means that it's 90 degrees of something, which is not correct, which... Damn bug. That. Direction 2 dot negative direction dot normalized. So if it's in front or in the opposite direction, it's always -1. So if it's like literally directly in front, it's always -1. And if it's ever to the side or a different number, that means this will always be either like -7, -6. This is still broken, but like, so -7. This is to the left, so it's -6, -1, -1. That is very helpful check and allows me to throw out the giant block of this. That's really helpful. Dots are cool. Thank you so much, Archrostel. Apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, but it looks like either Atrostel. I'm going to say it like that. That is very useful. Thank you so much. So in doing it like this, I can now use I can now use it to perform a check where you essentially just, if this equals -1, then you just move in a straight line and you don't have to bother about the rotations. If it is, okay, so now if I go here, this is -7. If I go here, that's -6. And if I remove that negative, then that's, yeah, then it's like, if it's 1, it's correct. That's 0.6. It's 0.7. So it doesn't detect if something is to the left or the right of it. So it doesn't help me with that. Maybe I could use dots as well to determine that, but I don't think so. I think from what I can, the information I very briefly looked up about it, it just describes if it's forward or exactly 90 degrees apart. So if the player is, if I just, basically, it's cos pi divided by 4, 45 if it's in front plus to the side, 45 degrees. Huh. So A and B, the vectors of A and B are cosine, the result number, I mean the -0.7. So yeah, so if it's not direct, then it's equals, since the absolute of A and B. Okay, I see. The cosine of 0 degrees is 1. Cosine of that is at 45 degrees angle, so the cosine of 45 degrees is at about 0.07 because it is about at 45 degrees. I see. So that is, I get it now. I will absolutely be doing more research on this subject. First of all, though, I'm going to take the cube, move it over here for just better visualization. I'm still processing it before I implement it, in a sense, like my brain needs to, so instead of having all of this, what I can do is, if currently it's just D is equal to 1, double equal sign. No, if it's not equal to 1, that is really useful, and it cuts down a lot of code. That's awesome. Code is cool. I'm like a little kid in the very complicated candy store. I also have to scroll up. Make a copy of that name you put in the chat of the person who has videos on dot products, so I can. Yeah, that seems like a good amount of information to just learn about it. Thank you again. Thank you so much for all the help. This is really useful. can now take that out, the target rotation. So now I can also use it. How simple would it be if I implement it? If I implement this, then I can have a singular rotation where it just takes the dot to see if the person is in front or behind. So I can use the dots to see if the player is either here or here. And after I do that check, all I would need to do is pull a single look or a single value off of the what do you call it? Off of the hitbox, where I just pull one value off of it, or one angle which the camera is looking at, and if I am on one side or the other, I can either add or subtract 180 degrees in order to essentially flip the camera around and allow you to simply just keep move, in order to just simplify it in a sense, instead of doing this incredibly complex and sometimes breaky way. Okay, so I'm gonna write that down. So you can use the dot formula on the hitbox itself in order to check to see if the player is in front or behind the hitbox. Then I can grab a single value that is the direction the camera should be facing, and change it by 180 degrees if needed. That makes it seem very simple, where all I would have to do is, whenever I click on an object, if the direction of the camera to it isn't exactly 180, isn't in a straight line, I then call the script attached to it, which I already have. It's this, where I don't need that, where all I would have to do is have what is essentially a couple of variables, which is just the direction you're supposed to be looking at. And yeah, so I can move, which would just allow me to, so if it's not in a straight line, or if it's not directly in front, so the way it would work is, if the object is not directly in front, then this is called. Then it performs a check to see if the player is in front or behind the hitbox. Then it returns the correct direction the camera should be looking in. dependent if the player was in front or behind. Meaning I need a function that is just return, not is just get direction, pass for now, and the only export variable of correct direction, it will be set as 0 just as the placeholder, so it never explodes. Hello, Spicy Mime. How you doing? I have been getting a calculus lesson from another guy. I don't know if he's still here or not. Who is in my chat, who is teaching me about dot functions. This... Did I delete it? No, this little function in particular. Essentially, it allows me to detect if an object is directly in front or behind an object. So it just allows me to check to see if the object is directly in front or behind, and I can use that to essentially determine if the player is to one side or another of a hitbox. That's fair. I don't like I don't like calculus either. I know that Spicy Mind, which is my brother, does like calculus because he likes math. So yeah, so it essentially it allows me to determine if an object is to one side or of the other of a hitbox here, and essentially determine the correct direction the camera's supposed to be looking in, which is a lot simpler than this giant block that sometimes works occasionally. So I can now do a thing where essentially if the result is the collider, then the result is the collider, meaning the result is the actual object itself, meaning I think I can run a test immediately with the first one if I just do just print found or downed found. Just want a quick test to know that I actually know what I'm talking about. I get move point dot get direction. If this works, then I actually know I do know what I'm talking about. It exploded instantly. Non-existent function to get direction. Oh, so right, it isn't. It's just the vector 3 connected to it, not the actual. So I would have to, when this is being grabbed, exclusion equals collider, result dot collider. What I can do here is that I can do that. This is just slightly temporary for now. Exclusion.getDirection does this work now. It instantly explodes again. A non-existent got function in base. I want to grab you though, so it isn't actually grabbing the. I feel like I'm missing something. here. Check mouse from to query is that. The result is the intersect ray. But right, just it is just a position. It's not actually grabbing the actual object. How do I grab the actual object again? Wait, am I? The collider is the object, right? So, direction of Y, find okay, cam, right. Beautiful. So I can undo my random nonsense of trying to be smarter than I actually am. Beautiful. Yeah, because this end move point is literally just a vector 3 and nothing else. Meaning that I can also get rid of the check mouse, what do you call it, this print right. Meaning then I can perform a check here where get direction would need it would need the vector 2, 3, I think, of. Okay, so the way the dot works is that direction 2 is the camera normalized, and if it's directly in front, meaning if I somehow clicked on an object directly behind the camera, it would work. However, we have to assume that this is actually the camera back there. So I think we have to assume that, oh, right, because it's, nope. Movement point. Yeah, there we go. Static body, is it? How did I explode it again? Query.exclude. Oh, right. Okay, so this needs, I think it's a variable or something specific. So because I'm still wrapping my head around specifically how dots work and what I specifically need them to get them to work in particular. So this dot is the direction normalized, which is the specific direction from the. Do you wrap your rotation back down to 0.pi range? It usually doesn't matter, but you might run into problems if you want to check for specific angles. I don't exactly know what that means. Essentially, I don't rotate the player at all. I'm just rotating the camera, and I know that's not at all what the question you just asked was. But essentially, I don't think I do. All I do is that I'm grabbing the camera's global position or global rotation, and I'm just checking it against I'm not sure. The answer is I'm not sure. How would I check that? Direction is that. So that's from that to there. So if you rotate by doing rotation equals rotate plus angle, you can end up with a rotation like, ah. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, the way I rotate is, yeah, camera rotation dot y equals rotate towards the end rotation. So the answer is I don't wrap it, or I essentially do add to it every time. Essentially, this is the way I rotate. The camera anyway. Meaning, and considering he's always usually turning in the same direction, like to the right, occasionally to the left, I think that does add up. Maybe I can try by, if I have access to it, the print seems I do wrap it around correctly. Because the camera rotation is always resetting to the correct area. So I do think it does wrap around correctly. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So, right, back here. So the dot specifically, it takes, going back to movement, it takes direction 2, which is the just global basis. Basis is transformable scale in the node of global space relative to the world. Okay, so yeah, that is the relative position, I think. So D, or the direction. Not really. It isn't really that's mostly due to converting radians to degrees. It isn't really a problem. A good example is before I had it just check to see if it was directly in if the camera was looking at either 0 or 0, 1, like a pi divided by 2, negative pi divided by 2, in order to see if it was looking north, east, south, or west. And it worked perfectly fine, and because of the way I had it written, it had to be exact. So this is the problem from the fact that it's just I do agree, those floating points. It's like, it's just code is weird. Sometimes getting into decimals, it either goes just below or just after what is the correct what it's actually representing. I don't have a lot of I do not have a lot of experience in floating points. But it's actually a really interesting topic on how they actually work with computers, and I think I'm gonna look into it more after this because it is interesting. Yeah, that is a good example. A good example, like in some like terminals and things like that, in a bunch of code, if you do like 0+1 and 0+2, it does not equal 0+3. It'll equal like 0.3000000091 or something like that. Uh, which is completely illogical. However, if you use whole numbers like just 1+2, then of course it's 3. Computers get weird when it comes to decimals. Lucky. I'm using Godot because because Unity's just I tried using Unity. I really did. I actually learned it as my thing of choice. But just for some reason, every single time I opened Unity, it just decides, hey, I know this is only a game engine, but I'm going to take all of your RAM and lag horrifically just for fun. So I just stopped using Unity because it just decided to that all of the features I needed to eat, which I never used, just ate all of my RAM, and it took so long to do anything. Like just running and testing took like 30 seconds in between each click, and I don't know why Unity does that, but I hate Unity. I think I have been streaming for about an hour and a half now. That is 30 minutes more than what I plan to do today. So I do think I'm gonna wrap it up for today. I am very tired, very hot, and very hungry right now. So if you're happy or if you're willing to, I would love it if you would follow my channel because uh, yeah, awesome. So I hope to see you again in the future because you seem very knowledgeable and I need the help. You're also so yeah, this should be fun. Yeah, cheers. I think I'm gonna go for either a meal and a workout. Shut up, Nico. Shut up. I I'm stumbling, you giant ass. He's a bully. Bye bye. But no, yeah, I'll see you all later. I'm gonna go work out. Cheers. Thank you very much for hanging out with little old me. Bye bye.